figuring out psychologically what you're dealing with when a woman has psychological confirmation bias and what it takes to actually lead her out of that. If you're in a place where you're facing unwanted divorce or separation forever and you've already changed everything about yourself, you've lost 40 pounds, you were a narcissist, now you're not. You've made all of these changes and you literally don't understand. Now that you've become the best version, you really have become actually worthy of being her husband, but she's still exiting the marriage. She's still filing for a divorce because all of the changes that you made either on your own or you're like a lot of my students, 50% of my students come from other programs. Maybe you're in a program that's helped you level up as a man. You've got bigger biceps, your waist is trimmed down, everything about you has become better, but guess what? It made it worse. She's resenting your changes and she still wants a divorce, and this doesn't even make sense to you. You're never going to save this marriage until you understand that changing yourself is not enough to save a marriage when a woman has psychological confirmation bias. Understanding this will actually help you change your situation, restore your relationship, restore your home, restore your family, and we start with communication. But what is confirmation bias? What is the way that the brain processes it? Confirmation bias becomes biological. How do I change it and use this knowledge, understanding, and wisdom to restore my marriage? And Denver, how does understanding this, how's that going to save my marriage? Because it's not enough to change you when your wife has it. Your leadership and how you communicate with your wife is how we restore a marriage when a woman has confirmation bias, because it's required in order to change her. Put in the comments right now if you know that your marriage is not going to be restored until your wife changes her mind, which means your wife has to change. Is changing yourself enough? I'm assuming not if you're still watching the video. Let's get started.
You just got to be coachable.
If you don't already know who I am, my name is Denver Griffin, and I help men who are facing unwanted divorce or separation from your lover forever restore your marriage when your wife has no interest in working on the relationship and is telling you that she wants a divorce. If you just happen to be a man who's facing unwanted divorce or separation forever, please do me a favor. Right now, we know that only 19% of our viewers are subscribers to this channel. Help me reach you with more content that's specifically for subscribers by subscribing to this channel right now. Please press the subscribe button, but do something that's even more important than that. Press the little bell notification and change the settings to all. That way, whenever I post content that's exclusive for my subscribers, the algorithm notifies you and you don't miss those subscriber-only videos. Press that subscribe button right now and press like for the video. In today's video, I'm going to talk about something that you guys constantly ask me about in the comments, and I have been responding to those comments individually. And that question that I get a lot around psychology of marriage restoration, where you're an unwanted passenger on the train that's heading to divorce land, and you don't know what to do because you see that she's ruining her life, she's ruining your life, she's ruining the kid's life, because you truly believe that you've changed, you become the better option, but the train is still heading to divorce. Everything that she's told you, the reasons that she's divorcing you, and now you've ruined those reasons because from your perspective, you've made those reasons no longer true because you've changed everything, but now you're starting to see she resents the changes and that might have even sped up the train moving to divorce. In a lot of cases, it's very normal for a woman to have an emotional or even a physical affair partner. And for some of you, you might have already obtained a legal divorce or your wife's already moved in with another man. But I am here to tell you that if she's not already remarried and your heart is to save your marriage, regardless of what anybody here on YouTube or your friends or your family would tell you that they think you should do, it doesn't really matter. Here's the question: what do you want? For those of you who your wife wants out, she's already moved on, but she's not already remarried to another man, if the answer to the question, what do you want for you, is you want your marriage restored, then there are things that you can do 100% to restore that marriage. Like I said earlier, I help men restore their marriage every day of the week. Even if you've already had a legal divorce, it is 100% possible to restore the marriage when she doesn't want to, if you understand this one thing. A lot of you have figured out how to change yourselves, but what you're struggling with right now is something called confirmation bias. And confirmation bias, if your wife actually has confirmation bias against you and or the marriage, you will never restore the marriage just by changing yourself. you've got to also change her. You've got to change her mind. And for some of you, the changes that you have made are actually changing her mind the opposite way. It's making her resent you instead of attracting her back into the marriage. That means that you're simply dealing with something as simple as cognitive bias, or as you hear me say on the channel all the time, it's just simple confirmation bias. So what is confirmation bias? Confirmation bias can be something that you've caused. It could be something that's what I call projected confirmation bias. And here's what I mean by that. So if we look at things from your wife's perspective, from your long-term relationship, from your soulmate's perspective, what's happened is in the relationship, you guys have had enough negative relationship histories, whether that was her fault, your fault, or the truth, both of your fault. And with enough negative relationship histories, over and over and over and over, that can cause the wife, the woman, your lover, to have confirmation bias. And what confirmation bias is it's literally bias against the belief that she can have a good life and a good marriage with you. Now, some of what you're dealing with is past relationship baggage that could stem back to her childhood. That could be relationship problems with her parents. That could be a bad or abusive father. It could be her ex-husband or her ex-lover, her ex-boyfriend. That could be childhood abuse, and that was caused by another man that was verbally or physically abusive to her. And what you could be dealing with is all of those negative relationship histories before you, or you might call it baggage that was brought into the relationship. Now she's associating some of that baggage with you, and she's projecting that confirmation bias onto you. Now, why would she do that? Because you have done some things that have triggered the past traumas, the past cognitive bias against other men in her life that have hurt her or controlled her. And it might not even be control from a bad perspective. So here's what I mean. Maybe her whole life, maybe her father did something like what you're doing now. Her father loved her so much that he never gave her permission to fail, fall, and mess up. He never allowed her to mature into adult. She was a child when she was born, and when she left her daddy's house, she was still a child because he never allowed her room to make mistakes. Now, men make this mistake all the time. Some of you watching this, you're making these mistakes with your children. And whenever you don't give your wife or your children permission to fail, fall, and mess up, what you're going to be perceived as is somebody that's controlling. Put in the comments right now if your wife's calling you a narcissist or a psychopath. And you know that's not you. Psychopaths and narcissists don't watch my channel because they don't care enough to actually get help, get support, figure out what to do. They're not resourceful in aligning their actions with their goals. They think they can do everything on their own. Put in the comments if your wife has called you those things and you know that you're not, because I'm confirming. Put in the comments if you were second guessing and you might have been Googling, am I a narcissist? But if you're watching this channel, you're not. But put in the comments if she's called you that and you know you're not, but you don't know how to prove to her you're not. And as long as she believes that you are, you think the marriage can't be restored because you think that's the problem that you're dealing with, and it's not. The problem that you're most likely dealing with is confirmation bias. So here's exactly what confirmation bias is. Confirmation bias is bias against a particular individual, activity, or relationship, or even a relationship group. So a lot of times you'll see somebody that has what's called church hurt, and that turns into church hate. Put in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. Does that mean that all churches are bad? No. So what you're dealing with in your relationship is you're dealing with masculine hurt and masculine hate. And some of that was caused by other men in her life. Those past negative relationship histories with other men that has been projected on you and your marriage in a way that makes her have bias against the relationship in the marriage. When psychological confirmation bias has manifested so long for a woman and or a man, it becomes biological. Dimper, what do you mean by this? Why are you being so scientific? Why are you being so, a brainiac here? Because understanding this can actually help you restore your marriage. At the end of today's video, I'm actually going to give you a link to a different website than what I normally do, because if you are actually dealing with confirmation bias, a free marriage U-turn masterclass is not going to be enough. you're going to need something that's more advanced. And we actually have something called DivorceStoppers. And I'll give you the link after we determine, do you really need that? So are you facing divorce? And if your wife has confirmation bias, and the confirmation bias has existed so long that we can actually see it if we do an MRI of her brain. If we put your wife under an MRI and we're looking at her brain, and I can ask her key questions about the marriage and about you specifically right now, if we see a neural loop where she is running the neural pathways of confirmation bias, that means that it's become a biological change for her. Well, why is that important? Why is that important if confirmation bias has ran long enough that it's become biological? Well, let me tell you this. In 11 and a half, almost 12 years that I've been helping couples and now particularly men save their marriage when the wife has no interest in doing that, I have never met one single man whose wife did not already have confirmation bias when she wants the divorce or she's running toward divorce. And a lot of times, if you have a really nice woman, she won't be honest with the man about what she's actually doing. She'll give you false hope, makes you think through her words, and you're starting to realize that you're being gaslighted. That's not because she's manipulative. That's not because she's a narcissist. It's because she's a good woman. She doesn't want to hurt your feelings and be honest with you to let you know that she is moving toward divorce. She is looking at apartments. She is looking at other homes. She has got her bag secretly packed. She has been stockpiling money for a while. She has been looking for another man because she's trying to find emotional and sometimes even physical safety outside of you. This is the reason that 87% of divorces in most cases, and depending on your geographical region, between 80 and 87% of divorces are filed by women because women are more prone to have psychological confirmation bias against the man and the marriage than a man. So it is different the way that a woman processes her emotions and her feelings and the way that a man processes emotions in not necessarily reality, but men don't think in feelings. That doesn't mean that women are bad. That doesn't mean that men are bad, but it does mean that we think differently. Women think on this side of the brain, men think on this side of the brain. Men process emotional safety here. Men process physical safety here. Women process emotional safety here, and women process physical safety in the exact same place. So it does help you understand how do you restore a marriage if you understand the psychology and how psychology for a woman can be interactive biologically. Well, why is that important? If you don't change your wife's brain biologically, whenever the psychology has run those neural pathways of confirmation bias so long that it has become biological, you will never restore your marriage until you understand how do you lead her psychologically out of confirmation bias, the amount of time that it takes for her brain to biologically change. So let me give you a story. You guys know that if you've been watching my channel long enough, you know that I went through stage 4 throat cancer several years ago. And whenever I did that, I moved to New York in order to get medical treatment. And while I was there at Memorial Sloan Kettering in New York City, I met a team of doctors who were doing a clinical trial with cancer patients. And this clinical trial will actually help you save your marriage. This is why I'm telling you about this. So listen to this. In the clinical trial, they had chronic pain prior to being diagnosed with cancer. They were dealing with rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, all these different medical conditions, and they were on high-powered narcotics to help them control the pain. But as they were going through chemo and radiation, their white blood cell count depleted, and they could no longer stand, and they could no longer medically be okay to take high-powered narcotics to control their pain. So what this clinical trial was doing is it was teaching the patients how to manage the pain with their mind, without medication. And guess what? In this clinical trial, they had a 99.6 success rate in teaching patients how to manage their pain with their mind. Understanding this is the same way that you restore a marriage. How they taught the patients to manage their pain with their mind is the same way that I teach men how to restore their marriage by dissolving psychological confirmation bias in their wife's mind to the point that she biologically changes. Well, is that enough to actually save a marriage? No, it's not. But if you don't understand how to do this, you will never restore the marriage if she has it. So you've got to do that if you want the marriage restored, but you've got to do a lot of other things first. So a lot of you, if you have assets together, if you have mortgages together, you have businesses together, you have children together, if you stay divorced forever, if you get a divorce forever, you're looking at paying tens, 20s, hundreds of thousands of dollars over the next year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in child support and alimony, in giving up your rental property, your dream home that you guys are building or that you live in. If you're a man that has assets and there's a lot of financial loss to you in the divorce if it happens, or if it stays divorced and you don't figure out how to restore the marriage, I can help you dissolve the confirmation bias in your wife in a program that I have that's called DivorceStoppers. And we do it the same way that they did it in the clinical trial. But listen, how do we do that? Well, in the clinical trial, guess how long it took to rewire the brain so that these patients could manage the pain with their mind to the point that that change in their brain became biological. Here's what happened. As these patients were going through the clinical trial, I made friends with these doctors, and they were nice enough to actually show me the brain scans of the patients. Now, it wasn't a HIPAA violation because they didn't share private personal medical information. I didn't get names, social security numbers, medical history. But what I was privy to, because I've been a student of the human brain and it's something that highly interests me for the last 30 years. And as I befriended these doctors, they actually shared the clinical trial information with me on how long it took biologically for them to rewire the brain psychologically with these patients. And guess how long the clinical trial was for? It was for exactly 7 full weeks. Every time these patients felt pain, they taught the patients to think a different thought consistently every single day for 7 full weeks. They showed me the neural pathways where the patients were experiencing pain. So I got to see MRIs of the patient's brain when they started, and I could see the neural pathways that they were running on severe disabling pain. And as these doctors taught these patients to think a different thought for 7 full weeks, we now can see that biologically their brain, as soon as that patient experienced the onset of that pain, we can see that it's triggered here, but we see the brain has rerouted how it processes how to deal with that pain. And now it's got a new neural pathway because the patients have biologically altered their brain through neuroplasticity by choosing to think a different thought. The doctors led the patients to rewire their brain. In this story, guess what? The patient is your wife. The doctor is you. Right now, you're the patient. What I do in the DivorceStoppers program is I teach you how to become the doctor and position your wife as the patient in this story. How do we start that? So, first of all, I want you to do me a favor. Put in the comments right now if you know that your wife has confirmation bias. So how do you know for sure if you have confirmation bias? You start seeing some wins. You start seeing that you're leading her back into the marriage. She might have even looked at your booty. Whenever you made a cute comment, she smiled. She hasn't done that in forever. Maybe you recently made love, but you did one thing wrong. So you realize that you're in a situation that no matter what you do right now, that she's looking at everything that you do right, and her brain is subconsciously hardwired to be searching diligently for the one thing that you do wrong. You make progress 3 weeks in a row and you think it's being restored, but you mess up and now all of a sudden things are worse than they were when you started the journey of trying to restore it. Put in the comments right now if you know that your wife has confirmation bias and that you're trying to restore a marriage where her brain is hardwired to look at the one thing that you do wrong. Because for her, if she has confirmation bias, it is literally not about all the things you're doing right. She is hardwired, not even on purpose. She doesn't know this and she can't help it. That's why she's acting a little crazy at times. That's why she's talking about what you guys are going to do this summer together. At the same time, her actions are aligning with separation and divorce forever. And it's literally making her feel like she's going crazy. And guess who's getting the blame for her, making her feel like she's crazy? right? So put that in the comments if that's you. Also, earlier I talked about, did you contribute to the confirmation bias? Have you loved your wife so much in this marriage that she's saying this word? If she's saying this, I've just got to find myself. I feel like I can breathe. You made me feel like a girl. I felt like I was one of your children. These are all signs that your wife is experiencing confirmation bias. And this is also confirming that if you don't understand how to psychologically deal with this, you will not save the marriage. A lot of you watching this video right now, you're at a crossroads. If you keep going on the direction that you're on, you will end up in a divorce. Your children will end up in a broken home. If you've already been through this once and you're going through it again, que sera is what you're living. And it doesn't have to be que sera. It doesn't have to be whatever will be, will be. You can take that horse by the reins and you can actually steer it back to marriage restoration. And you can do that in as little as a week. And we start with, guess what? Number one, the number one thing that is missing from all of the programs that say they're marriage restoration programs is this. It's the very first step in dissolving confirmation bias. And I rarely, if ever, meet somebody that knows how to deal with it. And it's communication. I can literally teach you how to completely restore the marriage, turn it around so it's going back to restoration. And we can do this, 100% can do this in as little as 7 to 10 days. Every new student in the DivorceStoppers program, you are required to know that you have turned the marriage around and that it's heading back to restoration in 7 days. If you don't do that by the 7th day, you're required to get on a coaching call because that's not normal. The majority of our students turn the marriage train around that's heading for divorce forever in 7 days. And for about 17 to 20% of our students, they struggle with that by completing that in 7 days. And that's why we have coaching calls so we can figure out, where did you get stuck? What did you misunderstand in communication? Put in the comments if you're in a program and it's teaching you to do no contact. Put in the comments if you're in a marriage program where you're seeing every single person in there is losers helping losers feel good about losing. It's a support group. It's making you feel good. It's making you feel like your manhood. You've added 3 inches here. You've added 3 inches down there. But none of that actually matters if the reason you joined those programs was to save your marriage and you've seen 0 results in the marriage being restored. Put in the comments if that's you. So how do you dissolve confirmation bias? I teach a program called DivorceStoppers. I teach a program that teaches men how to dissolve confirmation bias. And the very first week, what we tackle head on successfully. So let's say I bring you into the fold. You do an application. You get on a strategy session call with us. By the way, please don't book a call with me and or my team and expect us to be like the other companies out there where we're trying to sell you a program. I do have a high ticket coaching program, but I've instructed my staff that on these calls, absolutely do not sell this program. So why am I bringing this up? If this is the first time you've ever seen me or my channel, do not watch this one video and book a call with us. Watch at least 5 to 15 of these videos to see if you feel like Denver is a good fit for you. To see if what I'm talking about in these videos is exactly what you're going through. I like to say this: God does not call the qualified, He qualifies the called. Are you in a program? Are you doing research to find out if you should join a program? And the person teaching that program, they don't have kids, they don't have stepkids, they don't have assets, they have never faced an unwanted divorce or separation forever. So how could they possibly know what you're going through? They don't. That's why I have never ran $1 in paid advertising as of the date of this video, because I don't need to. My audience that I attract are men who are in the shoes that I was in, and they know that I know how to take the train where they want to take the train because I personally have done it myself. And we start with communication. None of this no contact bullcrap, because that does not work to restore a long-term relationship or marriage when there's assets, children, and a lengthy relationship. Who's teaching that other crap? They don't wear a wedding ring, and if they do have one on, they haven't had it on more than a year. You want to find somebody that's been in your shoes, who have navigated the waters to go where you want to go. So here's how you do it. In just a second, I'm going to have my video editor put up something differently. Normally in these videos, I promote the free Marriage U-Turn Masterclass. But if you're watching this video and you know that your wife actually has confirmation bias and you're about to get a divorce or you're in separation and you're naive thinking the magical unicorn is going to run across the road, you're going to hit that unicorn, it's going to absorb in your car, you're going to wake up tomorrow and the nightmare of this divorce that you're facing or separation, it's just going to go away. You're still naive enough to think that you can do this on your own, or you're naive enough to think that you can do that with free information from YouTube. And I'm here to tell you, because confirmation bias requires a step-by-step process to get rid of it over the course of, remember how long that clinical trial was with those doctors, it takes exactly 7 weeks to change her. How many of you right now, you know that the changes you've made are not working? Put that in the comments if the changes that you've made, they're not working. Put in the comments if you've already got a legal divorce and you'd like to remarry her before she marries another man. It's very, very possible. I have helped dozens and dozens and dozens of men who have already been through a legal divorce restore and remarry their ex-wives. Go to my client testimonials, the client reviews, and look at some of those and see how many of those students who already had a legal divorce and we restored the marriage fast and furious. Put in the comments right now if you know that you have a need for speed. In my first marriage, it ended in a divorce for one reason. One reason. I came this close to saving that marriage. Why did it end? I simply ran out of time. How many of you are ready to put time on your side? Put in the comments right now if you feel like spiritually something just led you to watch this video where I'm telling you that you are literally at a crossroads. This is the direction you've been heading. If you keep going that direction, your life is going to look right now. A lot of you, you're going to look back 1 to 2 years from today, from watching this video, and you're going to remember one of two things. You're going to have regret because you kept going this way, or right now you're making the decision to do something radically different. Right now, you're leveling up in your leadership and you're realizing that you changing is not enough, and that the information you're getting on YouTube is not going to change her. Put in the comments right now if you know that the changes you're making, they're not changing her. They're not changing her mind. And you are going to end up in a broken home and a divorce, and she's going to end up married to another man and 2 years later regret it. But it's too late. She's married the other guy. If you know that you know that you know that you need a transformation and you don't want to stay on the path that's going to divorce, and you're ready to do something radically different and make a change now that's going to change the way that the rest of your life looks, and you're ready to make the change right now and take a different route where I show you how to invest your finances, your wealth, your time in a place where over here you're heading towards cost, expense. What's the price you are going to pay if you keep heading this way? What's the price that your wife and or your children or your grandchildren are going to pay if you keep going this way? And friends, I'm here to tell you, as somebody that's been through that, if you keep going that way and you don't do something radically different, it's going to possibly end up costing you financially and emotionally, and with stress, psychologically, the rest of your life. Put in the comments right now if you're ready to stop heading toward expense land, where it's going to cost you everything that you value. There's no return on that cost. Today, I'm giving you an opportunity to take a left at the crossroads and to start investing where you're going to get a return on your investment. How many of you are ready to have the marriage and the life that you've always known you're supposed to have? My video editor has already put up the QR code on the screen to book a call with me or my team to apply for their program called DivorceStoppers. This is not make you feel good about yourself plan. This is not let's have a kumbaya marriage plan. This is only if you are a man with assets, with something to lose, and you're facing a divorce, or you've already got a legal divorce and you're facing the likelihood she's going to find somebody else to remarry. If you're about to have to sell the family home, if you're about to have to cash out your retirement and your stock, if you're about to start paying child support and alimony, and you want to stop the marriage, scan the QR code on your screen or go to the website that my video editor has put in the comments, and he's also put below the link to book a call with me or my team. How many of you are ready? Put this in the comments right now. For every man that puts in the comments that you're ready to do something radically different to turn the tides in your favor fast, put in the comments right now, Denver, I'm ready to save my marriage. And my team will reply with a one-time link that you can click on to apply for the DivorceStoppers Transformation Program, where we can completely turn the train around and you and your wife can be back together 7 weeks from today or sooner. Now, if this is you and you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel right now. Even if you're already one of my students and you haven't subscribed to the channel, these videos are just going to cement what you're already learning. Now, for those of you, this is the first video that you've done, do not meet with me or my team until you have watched at least 5 to 15 of these videos. If you want to go ahead and book the call now, that's fine. But book it far enough out that you have time to watch at least 5 to 10 of these videos, because we're not trying to convince you that you need me or the DivorceStoppers program, or that this is the best thing for you. You decide that before you book a call with us. If you want to go ahead and book the call now, that's fine. But make sure and watch at least 5 of the videos on this channel and go to my client testimonials so you can hear from the other students to determine, is this exactly what you need for you to help you accomplish the goals? The whole purpose of a call, the whole purpose for us when you book a call with us is for us to make sure that we believe that you're a right fit for the program. If we believe that, then we'll offer you an opportunity to come into the program. Again, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, do that right now. Pause the video and subscribe. Press the bell notification so you're notified of the future videos. And one more thing, and additionally, if you know you're facing unwanted divorce or separation forever, make sure and click the next video that my video editor is going to put up at the end of this video. It's exactly where you're at right now.